show.
No, none of that. It doesn't get the intro. All right.
There's nothing to woo about.
No, nothing to woo about. Nothing to get excited about. Mafia. Well, welcome to Mafia Sports Report. I'm your host, Tommy. This is my co-host, Mikey. First and foremost, before we get going into the show, I want to welcome everybody here. Scott Blakely, and we're going to get to your comments. Mikey's going to go ahead and bring all those in a minute. Yep. But I want to congratulate the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be rooting for the Bengals in the playoffs. I will be definitely rooting for them.
Yep.
I told you guys from the get-go that I have no problems with Cincinnati Bengals or their fan base. Now, I'm sure we're going to get some Bengal fans in here talking trash. I had a few earlier. All good. It is what it is. I don't do that. It's not my style, but if you come in here and talk trash, it is what it is. But I'll probably try to wind up booting you because this isn't a show about excuses. I've already given your dues, and that's why I wanted to start the show by congratulating the Cincinnati Bengals for really an awesome performance and a total ass whipping today. And just honestly, just kudos to you guys. Kudos to your coaching staff. Everything that you guys did today, you did right, and you won. And there's not much more I can say. Now, let's get to the Buffalo Bills. I'm pissed. Mikey's not pissed. I'm going to talk on me. I'm done. I'm pissed. I'm over it. The process bullshit I'm done with. Okay, sorry for the language, but we are now going on year 7 of the McDermott era. And I listen, how long, and I said this last season, and y'all, how long can we go on with the process talk? How long will the players eventually say, man, okay, yeah, trust the process. Woohoo, trust the process. When the process is leading us out of the playoffs every single season. So in 2020, okay, fine. Okay, let me backtrack. 2019, fine. We're young. We play Houston. I get it. Okay, no problem. 2020 comes. Okay, we just weren't ready yet. Big moment, AFC Championship game. So I wasn't even mad. It was just, we didn't come to play. It was a better team. 2021, I was so heartbroken. Oh, I came on here. My voice it was a great game. We lost. Today, F that shit. F that. I am pissed, man. That was a terrible performance by everybody, the coaching staff, the players. Nobody came to play today. It was an epic failure on everybody. My boy Ken Dorsey, failure. McDermott, failure. Frazier, awful. The players, awful, including Josh Allen, including Stephon Diggs. Everybody, nobody came to play. From the beginning of the game, we lost right away. We had no emotion in that game. Nothing. The Cincinnati Bengals came to play. We did not. It was a shit show out there. It was embarrassing. I heard Bengal fans in our stadium the whole time, right? Bills Mafia had nothing to cheer for because there was nothing to cheer for. It was a shit show. Mikey, go ahead before I keep going because I'll keep going all game.
What do you say? Podcast. We saved our worst performance for the biggest game. The Bengals came in and kicked our ass. Plain and simple. With a backup offensive line, our $40 million defensive line disappeared again. There was no I love Ed Oliver, but where the fuck was he today against a backup offensive lineman?
Nowhere.
AJ Epinesa and Boogie Basham. The only time I saw Boogie Basham is when he jumped off sides. I didn't even see AJ Epinesa.
When the ball hit his helmet,
Groot tried. Then we had Tim Settle that we paid for that we were so excited about, who did nothing. Eli Anku did nothing. Jordan Phillips playing with one arm did nothing.
Nothing.
And then our all-pro secondary got torched all day long.
All day.
Wide
open. Honestly, receivers.
Our best defender today, Dane Jackson.
Yeah. You're right. Mikey, I take it back. Out of everybody that played today, I will say Dane Jackson, the one guy I thought wouldn't play good, actually stepped up and played. He didn't play great, but he played pretty good. Made some good tackles. Other than that, though, Trey White, use and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jordan Poyer, awful performance. And I love Jordan Poyer.
Okay.
Terrible performance.
I need to stop. I'm seeing a lot of fire the coach. They're not going to fire Sean McDermott. So just know that right now. He changed the culture. They're not going to fire Sean McDermott.
They aren't, but boy, oh boy, I have to say, I agree with a lot of you guys. Listen, man,
it's not going to happen.
I know that, Mikey. We're not talking about will it happen or won't it happen. We're talking about should it happen. It's a big difference. I agree with you. It's not going to happen. But we could be sitting here talking again next season going, well, it's not going to happen. Let's bring McDermott back another. And then we're year 9 in, right, of the McDermott era. And what can we say then? We still got to trust the process. We're getting to the playoffs, but he can't get us to what we want, which is a Super Bowl. We can't keep going down this road because we're going to be sitting here doing a podcast every January going, well, they're not going to fire him. It can't. Eventually, you have to go, it's not working. We got to look elsewhere. And I agree with you. It's not going to happen. And I love McDermott. Don't get me wrong. I think what he's done for this football team is unbelievable, right? We are a good team. We are a playoff team. But do we want to, Mikey, my question, do we just want to be a playoff team?
No.
Okay. What is the process, by the way? What is the process? I want to know. How long is this process? Is there a stamp?
The process is over. The process is over. The process was building to where we are today. That was the process. But now it's, do we get over the hump? And so far, we failed at every turn.
We've been to one championship game, AFC Championship.
And we got blown out.
Right. Okay. Exactly my point. So 2017, I'll give them benefit of the doubt. Shouldn't even made the playoffs. We did. 2018, fine. We know it's a wash. It was rebuilding. Josh Allen rookie, fine. We've been ever since, right? 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. One-time AFC Championship, and we got blown out. And we've now lost every division round, right? Right? So we lost last division to the Chiefs. We lost now. We lost to the wild card game against the Texans in 2019. Yeah, I want to know.
This felt like Trick saying. This felt like the 2020 AFC Championship game where we just got our ass kicked. This is exactly what it felt like.
Even worse. I got to say, even worse.
Okay, Diggs over on the sideline yelling at Josh, throwing his arms up. Motherfucker threw you 10 balls. You caught 3. What are you bitching about?
And I'm going to go back to this. I don't even think it's Allen. You guys can point the finger at Allen, or some of you guys are. It's the offensive line, guys. He had zero time. Blitzes were coming from
all game long.
And I said this to you guys over and over and over during the season that Allen, this is the first season I saw Allen where he was not able to really get out of the pocket and escape like he's used to, because that's how bad the offensive line is. They're coming from all angles, and listen, there's nothing for him to do.
I gotta admit, I've been a big Spencer Brown.
Hey, Joe, I am cheering for you guys, by the way. Yeah. And thank you for coming on here. It was the first thing I said, because I know you're probably joining the party late. This is a great party we're at. But I said congratulations to you guys. Honestly, you guys well-deserved. This is not a show for excuses. I'm just bashing my team right now. But I will be cheering for you guys. And you guys are a class act. Your fans, for the most part, have been awesome to deal with. I very few fans I've dealt with so far that's been a-holes or whatever you want to call them. You guys, for the most part, been cool. Good. I actually have people that do a Wednesday show that are Bengal fans on my channel. So I got nothing but respect for you guys. I got nothing but respect for your coach, what you guys did today. So congratulations. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So I've been a big apologist for Spencer Brown. That ends today.
Oh, terrible.
Him, Saffold, Dawkins, all were straight garbage today.
Bullied. By the way, I do want to say something too, and I said it last year. I actually said it in 2020, that this team is not built for home games in January. This team is not built for snow environments, rain environments. We aren't. We play even worse. I almost feel like we would have been better off on the road. I'm being honest with you. What was the difference? We play terrible in those conditions. Awful. Allen's, he seems, he could throw in the wind and snow, but he does overthrow a ton more. Obviously, Joe Burrow he was hitting every target.
Well, his guys were running wide open too.
I get that too, but I'm saying he wasn't overthrowing, underthrowing. His offensive line is built to play. You're right. Helped out. By the way, backup O-line, and I'm talking about how they're built to play.
Yeah, wait,
These guys are backups.
Did you notice?
I take them all day.
They ran blitz packages where Josh didn't know where it was coming from, but we brought our linebackers up to the line, showed that we were blitzing, and had them flat-footed when they decided to blitz.
Yeah, and by the way, too, and I told you from the beginning, I'm calling everybody out, including Ken Dorsey, with a shit ass coaching performance, terrible play, terrible game plan by everybody, including Leslie Frazier. Also, no in-game adjustments today. Nothing changed from quarter one to the end of the game. Nothing. Everything was the same. Nothing. Mikey, do you recall? No. The only time something changed, and I'm like, oh, and I texted you, was when we went up-tempo offense, and it seemed to kind of work. We were kind of go, and we totally stopped. Also, I want to say, too, I think it was like 8 minutes to go. No, the game was over by that time. I'll be honest with you. I already told you the game's over by then. But why are we walking up to the line, taking our time while time is
just laying on the ground?
Who cares? Like, that's what I mean. It almost seemed like the players and the coaches just didn't realize this was a playoff game. Like, hello, like,
here's my question.
Come on, where's the emotion? Get up and run to the ball. I know we're gonna lose, but what the
Bills
hell,
have the number 2 ranked defense in the NFL, and they look like the worst defense in the NFL today.
Oh, they look terrible today, awful, and it's, I gotta say too,
I don't get it.
I don't
get how we can have the number 2 ranked defense and look that bad.
Because I will say, because the last 4 or 5 games or so, our DBs have been really playing bad football. Cushiony ass. I mean, really. Well, I know. We normally, I get that. We kind of, but we don't play that off. And I kind of felt like we've been giving guys what? I mean, bro, their tight end Hurst wide. Even there was times where
Carlos, I hope so. Yeah, someone needs to go. Something needs to change in that building.
I listen. I'm gonna tell you, and
it's not gonna be McDermott.
McDermott ain't going, but I wouldn't be mad if he did. I'm gonna be honest with you guys right now. I wouldn't be mad if there's a change. There won't be, but I gotta say this. I love Leslie Frazier, but I think it's his time's due. Okay, and it is. And I love Dorsey, but maybe he's just not the guy. Maybe he's meant to be a head coach in this league. Okay. I really think we need to switch something up. You cannot go into next season with the same defensive coordinator, with the same offensive coordinator, if this is what you're going to show us in the playoff time. You can't do it. Listen, there's no excuse, especially on offense. Fine, the offensive line not that great, okay, but we had weapons, man.
We didn't start checking it down until the last drive, and then all of a sudden we start checking it down. Until Josh was like, fuck it, I'm just going to throw it up. I need to score. It's under a minute.
Yeah,
he threw a pick. Like
it was that was miserable. Now, by the way, no Daquan Jones today. It was a bigger loss than I knew it would be a big loss, but I didn't think the Bengals, I'll be honest with you, would run the ball as much as they did. And boy, they ran the ball pretty damn well. And every time I swear to God, Mikey, they could have ran the ball most of the game and they still would have beat us.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to post gamers because I don't want to hear that fucking carbon copy. We just played like crap. We gotta play better. I don't want to hear that shit.
I could care less. It's all for nothing. Guys, it's all for nothing. All those post-game things. You know what they're going to say? I could have done a better job, right? McDermott's going to say that. I could have done a better job getting the guys prepared, blah, 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 blah. All means nothing. You know what conference I want to hear? And it ain't going to be today. It's going to be in a couple weeks is Bean. That'll be an interesting one. Because I want to know what he has to say. Go ahead, Mike.
Justin Cross comes in and says, Allen's a great QB. He needs to work on his vision, IQ, accuracy, timing, decision-making, fumbles, interceptions to reach level. Joe Burrow had 2 less interceptions than Josh Allen. So stop this bullshit of Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes don't throw picks either.
I think I talked to this guy
what we earlier. Need to do we need to surround Josh with better system. Because this fucking option shit, we need to get a better offensive coordinator in here that knows what the fuck they're doing. I love Dorsey, and he may be a great football mind, but we need to bring someone in that can give us a fucking running game.
Starts with the online though, Mikey. Got to fix that online. I don't care what
And that
coordinators
goes to
in here.
Brandon Beane, who hasn't been talked about once yet.
Well, I
His
tried.
overinvestment in the offense and defense has yet to pay off in any of the seasons. We've lost because our offensive and defensive lines haven't been able to produce.
Right. Justin, I talked to you. I believe you messaged me yesterday in my comment section. I told you I'm not going to get back and forth with you on the. Huh?
I'm sorry. Someone put something in here. Joe Burrow is much better than Josh Allen. Okay, if you feel that way, that's fine.
Carlos,
it's a different setup.
Yeah, and I'm giving you guys respect and love. And this ain't like, I hope you're not here just to troll and be an idiot. It's cool that you come on here. I appreciate you coming on here.
There's tiers, guys.
Yeah,
there's tiers of quarterbacks.
If you think today, but real quick, Mikey, if you think today was about Allen, and that's the reason why that we lost, then you didn't watch the game. You're not paying attention. Then you don't know football. And I hate to tell you that, but you don't know football then, because that game had nothing to do with Allen's mistakes. Allen if that game was close and it was Allen's turnovers like crazy, I'd agree with you and say, man, yeah, Allen, that had nothing to do with this performance today. Nothing. This game was solely on the Cincinnati Bengals bullying around the Buffalo Bills today, offensive line and defensive line, both sides of the football. That's how you guys won. Had nothing to do with Allen's play was miserable. No, because you go ahead and put Burrow on the opposite side of that, you would see that he would struggle with our offensive line, how you guys played today. And I'm going to also give you guys credit. I always say that too. I got to tip the cap to your defense as well. I can't just say it's our problem. Our offensive line stinks. Your defensive line caused havoc today. Good job. But that has not.
Yeah, Carlos, you say he was sacked 7 times. You think that's on Allen is the one who struggled because he was sacked 7 times?
You're not
that means the offensive line isn't holding up, and he got sacked 7 times. It's not a one-person game. It's a team game.
Correct.
Yeah, and Poyer, it will be gone, and it sucks, but it's time to figure something else out. Some changes have to be made. At the end of the day, we had our window with this team and it didn't work, so it's time to rebuild it.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from, Mikey.
Beasley was really good today, Tony. You're right. Beasley, Shakir were both really good today.
Yeah, I guess I'll give you that. So yes, I guess because I started off the conversation and everybody sucked, but you're right.
Yeah.
So there was a few players that did kind of make some plays. I thought Khalil Shakir made some really good plays. I thought Cole Beasley made some unbelievable catches. Dane Jackson, of course, was a shocker, and he played very well. I mean, there was listen. If I'm not going to go back and watch that miserable game, but if I did, I'm sure there were some guys that stood out that did their job today.
Mm-hmm.
But as a whole, no.
You know who else played well? Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, Edmonds was all over the field today. He was. I thought even Milano played.
He missed a couple.
He missed a couple, but he also made some really good tackles.
Yep.
But listen, overall, it's a team game, right? Overall, it was a shit performance on both sides of the ball. Everything, special teams, defense, offense, it wasn't good. Coaching staff, and that's why, like I told you, man, it's almost like we weren't prepared in this game, or maybe we were, and the Bengals just really exposed the shit out of this Buffalo Bills offensive line and their defensive line, because maybe they said, yeah, we're banged up on the offensive line, but we're still better than you with our backup offensive line. We still could push you around. And it showed today. It showed today. The trenches is everything, guys. You don't win the trenches, game over, bro. I don't care who you got at quarterback. You don't win the trenches, that's it, bro.
Get Eric Bieniemy, yeah. No.
I want no part of it. Happening. I will say this, though. I'm on board with, listen, if they let him go, which or not, I'd be cool with it. But I will say this.
I wouldn't want Eric Bieniemy. I want Sean Payton.
No, not Eric Bieniemy. No, I'm just saying letting Sean go in general.
Yeah. If we were, we need to bring in an elite offensive mind. Eric Bieniemy fights with his own quarterback. I want no part of that.
I agree. I agree. The next head coach here, if we're talking head coach, which, like I said, is probably not going to happen this season, I want an offensive-minded coach. I can't deal with this defensive.
Year?
I can't. Yeah.
The Jets guy comes in. Says every year you guys are crowned the champs before the season starts. This was the first year we were crowned.
You guys were don't talk about you Jets guy. I appreciate you coming in here, but you guys didn't even make the playoffs, bro. So don't you're you're barking up the wrong tree. First of all, hold. You need to worry about your own team. I hate to say I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're trying to add salt in the wound, but you got to worry about your own team, bud. You got to worry about your quarterback situation. So don't be coming around talking about the Buffalo Bills. I appreciate you here. We're already shit talking the Buffalo Bills. I'm already giving them hell. So trust me, bro. You can come in here. Whatever you got to say ain't gonna make no difference. But you can't if your team is last in the division or whatever the hell you guys were, and you have a quarterback problem. Y'all, you need to concentrate on your team, bro. You need to be in Jets chat rooms right now talking about what you're gonna do, not about what the Bills are gonna do.
Because they melted down at the end of the season too. And
facts, bro. Those are facts, bro.
Thomas Busy comes in and says Bills QBs are not afraid of Trey White 27 anymore. Trey White, we knew going in he wasn't going to be 100% this year. No corner comes back from that. No player comes back from that unless you're Adrian Peterson and somebody else and becomes the version of themselves right away. So, it's one of those things, Thomas. If you had expectations of Trey White being all pro, your expectations were wrong going in. Because you saw it from the beginning that he wasn't that same player yet. He doesn't have the explosion back yet. And he may never have that explosion back. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. We told you guys about Trey. We told you he wasn't going to be 100%. He's not. And he seemed down when he was doing press conferences. He probably was 70% or so. He definitely was not the same Trey White. And that was expected. I don't think who thought he'd be 100% coming back right away. Like, we all knew this. It took time for him to even come back. So let's wait and see next season when he has his whole offseason to rehab some more, right? Have an off. By the way, there was no offseason for him. It was all rehab. So pump the brakes there on the Trey White talk. Let's see what he does next year with the full training camp, preseason. You know what I mean? I want to jump on Trey White sucks right now, or he's not the same or won't be the same.
Okay, I'm gonna hit Steve Lynn's comment. It says, "Why is anybody surprised? What part of our roster is better than Cincy other than Allen? It's only a little throwing coaching, and we're less than." And I'm not even gonna say Allen's better than Burrow. Allen's on the same tier. It's a tier. Stop trying to rank quarterbacks. They're different quarterbacks. There's a tier of quarterbacks. Mahomes and Burrow and Allen, and you can put a couple others in there if you like. But there's an elite tier. There's a really good tier. Then there's an average tier, and then there's a below average tier of quarterbacks. Stop trying. They're different guys. They play different styles. You can't. It's like comparing apples to oranges. You just can't do it. At the end of the day, and yes, I think top to bottom, with the way our roster was consisted, Cincinnati had a better roster in that game. It doesn't surprise me that they won. I'm surprised with how lackluster. And I shouldn't say surprised. I'm disgusted by how lackluster that performance was from the Bills. There was no fight. They got bullied
from the get-go,
start to finish.
From start to finish. Joe, I appreciate that comment, by the way. I see you're a Chiefs fan. We try, bro. Like, I honestly, unless it gets nasty in here, I boot you. If somebody keeps this like nonsense talk. If you come on here once again, just and you're a Bengals fan, whatever, and you're just like, hey,
you guys won.
Yeah, but you're keeping it respectful. I have no problem, giving you that respect back. But if you're like this guy that came in as a Jets fan that had no reason, to be honest with you, be on here. But if you're on here, at least be respectful and don't just talk trash. It makes no sense to even do that.
I can respect the Bengals guys talking trash right now more than I can respect the Jets fan talking trash.
Yeah, but because listen, there's one thing I don't do. Y'all know that. I don't go on other people's chats. I just don't do it. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I appreciate y'all coming here that are Chiefs fan or whatever fan you are, but I don't play that game where I'm gonna get nasty.
I go to other people's chats and I donate for the super chats and stuff to give them love and credit for stuff.
Makes no sense.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, listen, we got our ass smacked down today. And I want to see what the front office and McDermott's going to do to make a change, because they keep trying to run it back. You can't run this back. It didn't work. Yeah. Change something, damn it.
So back to Bean, and I was telling you that'll be an interesting conversation when his presser comes up in about a couple weeks, because there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, I think, by him. One, coaching staff in general. Two, I want to know what you're going to do about this offensive line that's been a problem since the day you arrived, and you have yet to fix it. They continue to put Band-Aids on a big-ass wound, Mikey, that is bleeding profusely all over the place, and they think by just patching it up, it's going to get us do what we need to do, and that's not how it works, man. It's not, and we has to be addressed, and they continue to work around the offensive line. It doesn't work that way, man, and that's one that I want to get questioned. Two, the help for Allen as well. Receivers, right? I love Gabe Davis. I still think Gabe Davis can be a good number 2 in this league, but we need more help. It showed. It really did. And I love Cole Beasley, but will Cole Beasley be back?
No.
Probably not, right? No. John Brown, obviously not, right?
I don't know if McKenzie's back. We're going to see a new cast of characters on offense. Singletary's probably going to be gone.
No, he's gone. Shakir's a bright spot. I will say that. But he'll still be raw. Hey, got my buddy here. I invited Jerick on from Jant Sports. Jerick, I am pissed off. I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm pissed. I was telling Mikey, 2019, it was what it is. We were a young team. 2020, disappointed, but I understand. 2021, heartbreaking. 2022, fucking angry. I'm angry. And I told Mikey, real question is about the coaching staff and McDermott. They're not going to change. Maybe I get it, but when are we going to eventually say we have to move on?
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. It literally took me I think 4 takes while trying to record my video, because I went from yelling and screaming, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Not this year. Every time that
thank you.
Because the last couple years when we've lost playoff games, I've been yelling and I've been screaming. Those videos ended up they ended up going viral, and I'm like, I'm not doing it this year. I can't. So I had to have more. I had to be a lot more composed. Unlike our quarterback today. And I had to just kind of just be in my inside voice, and I just had to just try to record my take. But guys, everything that we've talked about and everything that we've complained about, I mean, it happened today. I am not shocked about this result. I'm disappointed, of course. But again, we've played like crap the majority of the second half. We have not played up to our full potential since early September. And everything that we talked about as far as a lack of running the football, as far as forming this offense to be more of a kind of a big time, more of a big play, explosive offense, instead of taking the check downs, setting up screens, taking a lot of the underneath, while your defense continues to play as much soft shell and off ball coverage and quarters on a crucial 3rd and 10 moment. I mean, everything that we talked about today happened. So I'm not surprised by this result. I'm disappointed. I think the Super Bowl window is closing for this team. I think it is 1 year left, and that is depending on what this team does with their Super Bowl. Because Tremaine's gone. There's no way in hell. Unless you franchise tag him, and then you're gonna screw up your cap even more for the following year. Poyer, I don't know what you do with that. Bye. He's gone.
He's gone.
You overpaid Dawson Knox $50 million, not really utilizing him that much. You overpaid for Deion Dawkins, who has played average at best over the last couple of years.
I could be on board with that.
You have not invested in your offensive line, clearly, because Roger Saffold, 1 year contract, he's gone. He
was horrible. Good. Be gone. He was garbage. That was a waste of $8 million.
And we got to restart. That's what we've done over the last 2 to 3 years. We have constantly had to restart on that offensive line because we keep signing these old players or these bench players to 1 year deals. And when they do perform pretty well, we sign them for these 4 year contracts, which ends up biting us because they don't perform perform well to that particular contract. And guess what? The last 4 years in the draft, we have drafted defensive players instead of investing in the most important part, which has gotten you to this moment, which has been your offensive line or your receiving core. You know what the Cincinnati Bengals did today during their draft? They got Jamar Chase and they drafted T. Higgins. They drafted Joe Mixon. They drafted Joe Burrow. You look at the defense side of the ball.
They drafted Volson. They drafted Carmen. They drafted all those backup offensive linemen. Were all drafted in the last 2 years.
And at least with their free agent signings, they've been smart with their investments because we didn't have to overpay for a 33-year-old player. They got a 25-year-old Trey Hendrickson who was in his prime that performed well today and was wrecking havoc. But it wasn't even that because B.J. Hill was able to wreak havoc. Guys, everything that happened in today's game was a combination of us getting outplayed, out-schemed, but also showing that they had the better, that for at least for this moment, they have the better general manager. They were just better all around for this team. And
not only that, we passed on the likes of Creed Humphreys and other offensive linemen to take AJ Epinesa and Boogie Basham on defense.
Jerick, and I said, it's like we've been continuing to put Band-Aids on an open wound that's getting bigger and bigger. And the bleeding is like out of control right now. Here we are.
It's going to catch up. Again, there's only so much you can do about that Band-Aid. You are hurt. You have an injury that requires surgery. There's only so much you can do by covering up with Band-Aids until eventually the wound gets affected because you won't do the obvious by going to the damn local hospital and getting surgery on it. There's only so much you can do with that. So now look in the position we're in. We barely have any cap space. What do you do?
Well, we can create cap space. That's not a problem. There's a way to create a lot of cap space to fix some of the stuff that we have to fix. Yeah. However, I want to touch on Justin's comment. He said Josh Allen I was a fan of, but he messed over Diggs today. Ball hog Allen. He threw him the ball 10 times.
That's not true.
I don't know what he's supposed to do. Yeah, he threw the ball.
That's not true.
It's also hard to throw a ball when you have defensive linemen hanging on you.
Right.
Josh was getting beat every time he dropped back. There was no super clean pockets, and Josh was missing guys.
None. Yeah, and there really hasn't been
harassed all day long.
There hasn't been a super clean pocket.
Now let's go back to what James was just talking about. Big ticket guys that we signed. We were missing Micah Hyde, who's a big ticket. We were missing Von Miller, who's a big ticket. We were missing Daquan Jones, who were a big ticket. Together, those guys were making $40 million. However, your young guys that you drafted that were supposed to fill in, like the Jackson Carmens and the Volsons and those guys, didn't show up. That's the difference. So is that coaching? Is that just missing on a player? Either way, it needs to get better. If we plan on
Cincinnati missed 3 offensive linemen, they had another one that honestly shouldn't even been playing this game. And it was just not a night-and-day difference.
Yeah, Ted Karras. And our top 10 defensive tackle was nowhere to be found today.
Nope.
Yeah, nowhere to be found.
Nope. Who's going into a contract year? Can't pay that guy. You can't trust him. Because I guarantee you the Chris Joneses and the Aaron Donalds and those guys don't disappear in games.
Nope.
They create mismatches. Or maybe it's not truly on Oliver. Maybe it's the stupid scheme we're running. And we're not setting them up for success.
Defense, man. Something's got to change, man. Something's got to change. And like I said, no one is safe. Your coaching staff, I think we need to. This is a great time now to have serious considerations. Is McDermott the guy? Is he the guy? Because against the best quarterbacks, we have disappeared. This defense continues. Doesn't matter if we have the number 1 ranked defense, 5 does not matter. We continue to fail in the biggest games, in the biggest moments, and it all comes to this defense, to what we're running. And we got exposed today. Which is a
McDermott defense, right? You built this defense. This is your defense. Leslie Frazier may be calling the plays, but this is also part of your defensive calling. You're part of that. You're a defensive coach, and yet we struggle in big moments all the time.
You did, Beth. You did see Groot today. Groot had three QB hits.
Yeah.
So at least he was there.
He was there, but overall,
it was a pathetic performance by the Bills.
I just thought. I mean, listen, like I said, from the get-go, from the opening drive, I felt this team was flat, and that's on coaching as well. That's on the players. Like, I felt like there was no in-game adjustments either. So, okay, the O-line's not holding up. All right, so Ken Dorsey, man, what are you going to do about this? We got to get the ball quickly out of his hand. Let's run some screens. Let's do something different, right? There has to be, because the O-line's not holding up, right? We're 2 quarters in. Nothing changed. Nothing.
We just
from
big
one
shot after big shot. I mean, we were just looking for the big plays. The way that the scheme and the way that the plays were settled. I mean, we were just looking for big shots, big plays. And I
and we have been all year since about midway through the year.
Yeah.
Like early, if you remember, early in the year, it was a quick passing game. And I was texting Tommy this during the game. I'm like, where's the quick passing game that we had early in the year? It just disappeared. Where when we didn't run, we'd still get like I think the Bengals averaged like 6 yards on first down every time, like 6 to 8 yards of play, just chunks.
They literally could have ran the ball the whole time.
Yeah, they freaking just got 5 or 6 yard plays. You want to know why the offensive line was so good? Because Burrow had the ball for about a second and a half, and they just ran stops. The second they came up to jump that stop, they ran somebody over the top, and Burrow hit him. They set it up, and we don't have coaches that are setting schemes up. They made things look so easy, and everything we did today was difficult.
I just feel like eventually, guys, and maybe I'm wrong, I would love to interview a player to ask him, but I feel eventually the players have to question their head coach eventually. Like, they have to, because you cannot continue to go to the playoffs and just lose like this. You cannot, and eventually, like, you know, I know they like McDermott. I'm sure they love him, but eventually I'm sure they have to go, man, is he the guy? You know what I mean? Is he the guy? Is he our true leader? Is he the guy that's going to lead us to the Super Bowl?
Is he a leader? I don't, yes, but is he the
a leader to get us to the right? I don't know if
he's at his ceiling now. Is he going to be who we talked to somebody?
I hate to
is
say
he going
it,
to
man.
be the Marvin Lewis?
I think he is. I'm going to say it now. I hate to say it too, but man, it's what are we year? What year are we in now? Going on 7 next season?
Next will be 7.
Yeah, 7 seasons, and we have not even gone to the Super Bowl yet on a team that, honestly, now mind you too, you got to also put some blame on Bean. He's at fault just as much as McDermott for not building a correct. Yeah, I agree. I'm with that as well. Like, I love Bean. I love McDermott, what they did for this team. But bro, if things don't change, then the next guy to go would probably be the coach, right? And then you're talking, the next would be the GM if we continue to fail after whoever comes in for McDermott. So Bean, if you want McDermott to be the guy, you better start building up this offensive line and defensive line better and start getting some playmakers in here. Or this will be the case. We will be sitting here every January yelling or disappointed or heartbroken that the Bills just couldn't get it done again. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep coming on here year after year losing, because we just didn't do something right in the draft by building an offensive line, or, you know what I mean? Instead, we're out there getting two DEs, Boogie Basham and AJ Epinesa,
all pro centers and interior guys.
I don't understand it, so it's mind boggling, and it kind of like gets you where you're at today. Little mistakes like that.
It's just, man. I don't know. I don't know what this team.
You know what it is? We don't have a running game. If you notice, all the teams, that are left, all have running games. Even Kansas City,
offensive line too.
they have offensive line and running games. Right. We don't have that, and until we get that. Hey, you know what? I hated Colin Cowherd listening to him all week, but he's right. The Bills are too Josh. It's too Josh Allen-centric, this offense.
Yeah, it's true.
They put
And
their
it's been like that
entire
last
hopes
few
and
years.
dreams on the right arm of 17. He's
And
got to be
defenses-
Superman or we lose.
And defenses aren't stupid anymore. I told you guys this season, Josh Allen, it wasn't escaping the pocket like he normally was,
Yeah.
especially like during the late half of the season. Defenses were collapsing on him. And look at this game. He really had nowhere to go. Nowhere. Even when he tried a design run, didn't get very far because defense is now a scheme for Josh Allen. They know that we have no offensive line to run. They're not worried about the run. Their focus is on Allen, getting to Allen, collapsing the pocket from all different angles because they can. Because Spencer Brown can't block because Deion Dawkins is playing average football at best. Because Roger Saffold is showing his age and he's washed up and done. I'm sorry.
And Beth, I love you, and you're here all the time. We don't need to bring a badass running back in. We need to bring badass offensive linemen in. You put Saquon Barkley back there, and he ain't gonna do shit.
Wouldn't it matter? It all starts from the trenches. We absolutely got destroyed in the trenches today on both sides, offensively and defensively.
Bullied by a backup offensive line.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had, by the way, that was their game plan. They went in going, mind you, all the even me was like, damn, they're out 3 offensive linemen. Our defensive line's is gonna eat, right? And the Bengals were like, okay, we'll see. We're gonna do this. We're gonna bully the shit out. We don't think your D line is that good, and we're gonna show you. And the D line, by the way, for Bengals, looked back at the Dolphins game and all the other games and went, we could just pour on heavy pressure on Allen and just disrupt them, and they're not going to do anything because they don't have any adjustments.
Right?
They don't adjust to it. They don't adjust to the game plan. They don't.
No.
They're like, Josh will just run around. I swear to God, I feel like it's the replacements. Remember when the guy's like, hey, why don't you try to run around? That's what the offensive line turns around and tells Josh. Just run around and create something. That's their game plan. Let Josh run around and create something.
Oh. Even the one play
Triggs
where Allen
is right here, by the way. Triggs is right here. Since we drafted Ford over DK and
I
AJ
talk about
Brown,
that all the time.
we drafted Boogie over Creed Humphreys. And then we drafted the linebacker over Dylan Parham, who started for the Raiders
Our
this
special
year.
teamer. He's not going to ever see the linebacker spot.
It's ridiculous. Speaking about the draft, Kiara Elam, backup player at cornerback, who again, we don't even know how. I mean, how is he going to develop next year? Because you took away a majority of his playing time.
He played great when he was in there too. That's what's sad.
And it's sad. Like it's insane. It's kind of like this is the type of game where you're like, you know what, based off of his skill set and what he can do well, this is the type of game where you need to disrupt. This is a game where you need to disrupt the timing, especially if you're not really a team that specializes well in pressure on the quarterback. You need to disrupt that timing. And we gave them all the time in the world, and then the way that our defense runs, depending on our type of coverage, it's perfect. It was perfectly executed by Cincinnati, and it's honestly simple. They didn't take a lot of huge deep shot opportunities. They simply took what the defense gave them. Joe Burrow did a great job scanning the field, looking off defenders that our defenders kept biting for it almost every single time.
Every play.
Picked it apart. Just picked it apart.
Yeah, they exposed that nickel soft type defense.
And they have been against all those top flight defenses, always expose it. Kansas City did it last year. You know, yeah, we can get away with that when we're not playing those elite offenses, but we have to have a change up. Something you have to be able to change it up and do something different. We don't have there was no creativity on the offense or defensive side within our coordinators this year. Zero creativity.
Yeah, nothing. Matter of fact, we were supposed to bring them more pressure this season. Like that was the whole offseason, remember? That's why we got Von Miller. You know, we were supposed to.
But again, they signed one guy to be a superstar and be Superman on the defensive side.
Right.
They have the same philosophy.
An aging one, too, by the way.
Josh
I love him.
Is going to be Superman on offense. Vaughn's going to be Superman on defense. Right. We'll figure it out after that.
Yeah.
That's not the way to build a team.
No, it's not. I really wonder what they're going to do this offseason, guys. But it's like I said, man, I think I'm just more I think I'm to the point where I'm just pissed now. I know you're not mad, Mikey. I'm pissed.
disgusted. I'm not mad. I'm disgusted.
I'm pissed.
That's just how I feel,
I'm
man.
pissed.
I'm just disgusted because you can see what is happening. You can see it, and it's kind of like these players are getting older. This philosophy really has not worked because, it's worked, but it's not getting us to where we want to be. Because the last 3 years, you've had Super Bowl teams. You've been contenders. We've been right there at the doorstep. And yet you're starting to see now that we're going backwards. We went from taking some correct steps to being literally right there. We're literally, all we have to do is take a step in through the door. We're there. And now we're going backwards. We're going backwards.
Right.
And that's why this loss, I think it stings worse, honestly, than it did last year. Because at least last year, yes, it sucked and it was disappointing.
We beat ourselves. We beat ourselves last year. This year,
Exactly.
The Bengals
But at least I know
whipped our ass. They showed the difference between how good the Bills are and how good the Bengals are. We're not on that same level. And if we are, we definitely didn't show it today.
Clearly not. And I gotta say too, the players too were disappointing. Not just the coach. I know we've been killing the coaches and
the players
that, but I gotta say that I don't think the players showed up at all today. And you figured they would, right? You got Hamlin in the building, right? You got you got the fans going crazy. And boy, oh boy, Bengals took the fans right out of it. Mm-hmm. All I heard was hooday in our own stadium, embarrassing. And I don't blame our fans for being quiet because they had nothing to cheer for. And the players were just walking around, it seemed like. It seemed like they had like it wasn't a playoff game. Like almost like it was like the game was not meaningful. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like they were defeated from the get-go. I almost felt like the team was defeated right away. Like they had no confidence. I saw nothing on the sideline that would say, man, these guys are rallying behind each other. I didn't see Allen, hey man, we're all right. We're going to get nothing. No, there was no leaders on the field today. I saw nothing from the captains today. And you can't be like that. You really can't. Man.
I watched our captains, especially our secondary captain, give up the first 2 touchdowns. Just blow it.
No, but I mean, a captain's getting on the sideline, getting his team.
It's hard for a captain to yell at somebody when they're the ones giving up the plays.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You're still your job. Then he needs to get on his track and get himself right. But either way, I saw nothing from nobody today. Nothing. Even the coaches seemed just flat. Frazier just, McDermott just.
McDermott was
like nothing. I saw nothing.
Exactly. And speaking of McDermott, I mean, you're talking about a coach with the dude, the fact that you are, and again, the first half, I wish he would have went for it. I wish he would have went when we were down 17-7 and we had an opportunity when you're like, you know what, we got to get this crucial score. We got to pick up this game. We got to gain some life, whatever it is, what it is there. But you are down by 2 scores. I know it's 4th and 2nd and our back are against the walls, but you are giving back the possession of a team that clearly when they get the ball back, they're going to run the football. They're going to slow down the clock. And clearly in a game when you're down by 2 possessions, you got to go for it in that situation. And the fact that we punted that ball away to Cincinnati, I stopped watching the game there. I'm like, we just gave the game away to them.
That's he's done that multiple times. Yep.
You can't stop their offense. You have to go for it in that situation. Where's that fire? Where's that pump? Where's that belief? And we just gave it away. That's been the problem with them since day one.
I asked Tommy this when we were there. When we went down and it was 17-10, and or 17-7, we were down there on the red zone, and not one Josh Allen run, throw, inside the 10-yard line.
All in the pocket too. He didn't roll out.
I'm like, why? Josh Allen is the biggest X factor in the red zone.
Right,
we didn't use him there at all this year. He took more of a beating in the pocket this year than he did outside the pocket.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
They're like, oh, we don't want to get him hurt. We don't want to run him. Dude, he took a beating in the pocket this year. And
it was bad.
He was bloody after this game.
He was bloody last game.
Yeah.
It was same thing. Like, all right, man, things got to change or we're going to be doing the same conversation, guys, every January because I believe this team is a playoff team, but that's it.
The way they're constructed today, yes.
That's it.
I'll be interested to see what Brandon Beane does going into the offseason, how he reconstructs this team. How does Dorsey, get the head coaching job in Carolina, or do they part ways?
After today's game, it's going to be real interesting to see if Frazier or Dorsey get any calls.
Well, I watched Big Mike get a McCarthy get a job in Green Bay after a game.
No, I get it, but this was bad. This was just and Dorsey's so raw, man. I don't know if he'll get that opportunity. Maybe they will.
But do we bring him back? Can we afford to bring him back? There was no changes.
I have more confidence if we decided to upgrade Joe Brady than with Ken Dorsey. I would feel more.
Joe Brady's getting looks in New York for the Jets.
I still say, listen, if we lost Dorsey, my guy would be Reich. I still am on board with that.
I don't know if he has that. I don't know if he has that connection.
I think he would be a great fit. I think he would be a great fit here as our OC. And he trust me, he would want to do good because I believe he's still a head coaching. I still believe he could be a head coach in this league. So if he comes back as an OC for any team, has a good couple seasons for whatever team that's on, he'll be a head coach again. But he would be a great fit, in my opinion, if we lost Dorsey. I'm still a Dorsey guy, though. I still think Dorsey could be better. It was his first year. He's going to make mistakes, but it's not all on him either. How long we've been talking about the offensive line right now? For the past 20 minutes?
Well, he's part of that brain trust.
I know, I get that, but he didn't build that offensive line. That offensive line was built
under Dable.
Since 20, under Dable and under McDermott. They're the ones and Bean to bring these guys in. He was just working with what he had. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he couldn't make adjustments during the game and switch things up, which I agree, but my God, that's not on him either. You know what I mean? That Bean and McDermott never addressed it. They haven't addressed it since they've been here. And I kind of feel like they're kind of taking the fall there. And I think Dable, I'll be honest with you, I think the offensive line last season was better last season than this season. And we were supposedly have an upgrade when we brought in Saffold. But I thought the O-line, at least last year, pass blocked better. I think this year the offensive line got worse in pass blocking.
I'm not putting this one on Josh. There's a lot of people in here bashing Josh, saying he's not the guy.
Yes.
Listen, you take Josh Allen out of this offense, we're not even a playoff team.
Nope.
No, we're easily a 5 or 6 football team.
Yeah, we're the Jets.
Oh, stop it! Josh Allen's in the Dak Cousins car category. Stop.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And yet, Josh Allen still has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott being here through the NFL.
And this is more high risk. The better team won today, plain and simple. But we need to fix some stuff.
Yeah. You know, no.
Put Josh Allen with the Dallas Cowboys right now. The Dallas Cowboys were my Super Bowl favorite.
I'm picking the Cowboys.
I don't know,
today, by the way,
that
over
Eagles
49ers.
team looks dominant, man. When they get that run game going,
they're a tough team. They are.
That Eagles team. What happens? Good. Honestly, my favorite really is the Bengals. That Bengals team is
I'll be rooting for them.
Balanced across the board.
I got no hate.
It's going to come down to if they can get any of their O-line back, because they're going to go up against Chris Jones next week.
Yeah. And then if you get to the Super Bowl, then guess what? I mean, if you go against Dallas, you go against that fast. I mean, the way that fast, aggressive defense.
I don't trust the Dallas's offense.
I don't trust their offense. That's why. I mean, like I said, I got San Francisco winning this game because I think San Francisco is just. I mean, you want to talk about a dominant football team? Yeah,
they're well rounded. They're very well rounded.
The San Francisco's issue is are they going to run into their quarterback? Is he going to run into a wall? He really hasn't been tested yet. Because their offensive coordinator / head coach draws up creative plays to make it easy for his quarterback.
Exactly.
But they also have a better offensive line that they could do that with.
Because they built one. Imagine that, Tommy.
Well, that's not on the coordinator. He didn't build the offensive line.
You got
to listen. If you don't, but if you want to get creative on offense, which I agree, you got to have an offensive line too that does their job, that you feel comfortable with executing the play. If our offensive line can't even execute the basic blocks, you think they're going to go out there and do something creative? Of course not. Spencer Brown can't even block a speed rusher, a normal play.
Yeah. The Chiefs smacked the 49ers when the 49ers were missing half their defense.
Chiefs are a tough team, no doubt about it.
I'm interested to see how Patrick Mahomes plays next week after that ankle sprain.
Yeah, bro.
That was
He hasn't had
nasty.
an ankle sprain.
He's gonna play, but he's gonna be slow, man. He was
that
really
was
bad.
nasty, man. The fact that I tip my cap to that guy for being able to even gut through that game.
But I'm glad you brung that up though, Mikey, because look, go back to that game, and yeah, the Jaguars defense isn't the greatest, but they're not the worst either. Mahomes goes out, they're at their own 2 with a backup. I forget the guy's name from Jacksonville. Henny drives them 98 yards for a touchdown. So what does that tell you? Their offensive line's pretty solid. Their coaches are pretty solid. Their game plans are, that's what I'm saying, but their game plan's good. Mm-hmm. So it didn't even matter that Mahomes wasn't even in there. They still drove 98 yards.
Well, yeah. They also got lucky that they didn't get picked because that was an easy pick.
No, I get it. But either way, my point is that offense is they can be creative and do all those plays because their offensive line is good, is on point. So they can do all that stuff. Their backup quarterback can come in and drive 98 yards. You think our backup quarterback can drive 98 yards with that offensive line? Of course not. Come on. So yeah, offensive line means so much.
I don't agree with this. Randy comes in and says Josh Allen's a great athlete. His weakness is his ego. He thinks he can play hero ball.
He doesn't have an ego.
I think he plays hero ball because he has to. That's the offense.
Right.
Josh will run around and make plays. That's our offense.
They're
not schemed up offensively to do things. I mean, we can ask Josh to become kept and checked down, and that's all he does. But let's be honest. Everyone loves it when he hits those big, long bombs, and he has the arm to do it. You know, how about we get an offense that's actually built to scheme things up for our guys, and we get an offensive line that can protect him, where he doesn't have to break out to create things to happen. You know, you put him in.
We can focus on the personnel, not just on the offensive line, but at the receiving core that can fit with Tennessee.
Gabe Davis was a disappointment this year. It is what it is.
He was playing. He
was. He made some good catches today. A couple good catches today, though. I will say.
He also had a really bad drop.
Yeah, it was a bad timing too. You know, of course, that was a huge play. But I don't know if he had an awful game, and he had a good game against the Dolphins. He made some good catches today, but nobody shined.
He can't be the number 2. He can't be the number. We need to get a better number 2 to help.
Yeah,
Diggs.
I agree.
Because what people's doing, they're putting 2 or 3 guys and bracketing Diggs, and says the other guys have to beat you, and they're not.
It's too many games where he just has not shown up, where they've simply bracketed to Diggs, and he's been the next option because guess what? He's getting singled, and he's just not coming through. And again, the same thing has gone with McKenzie or whoever our slot receiver is going to be, because I don't know if we're going to bring back, I forgot, Jamison Crowder. Cole Beasley obviously was temporary, which is kind of a temporary. So you need to figure, I mean, is it going to be Shakir? Are you going to be focused with him there? Dawson Knox hasn't got the attention that he's had ever since you paid him the $50 million all season long. Now, obviously in the playoffs, he's gotten a little bit more attention, but I mean, what are we going to do there? The offensive line, I don't know. It's a lot of question marks, including
there's a lot that needs to be done.
This comment here makes me laugh. Josh Allen isn't a playoff winning quarterback. I believe his record is over 500.
And
if you're putting this loss on Josh Allen, you didn't watch the game. Your expectation is a lot like the Bills coaching staff. Josh Allen's gonna become Superman. The quarterbacks can't always become Superman.
This isn't basketball either. One guy can't just win the game, bro. Like there's 11 guys.
I get it. He's done
they all got to do their job,
but not against this super good team like we played against today. And that their defensive coordinator should be getting looks for a head coaching. That dude knows how to scheme shit up.
Yeah. Sometimes too, you got to tip the cap to the defense, Brad. It's not always about,
Allen creates.
There's been some stud quarterbacks that have had bad games, and I don't even know if this was a bad game by Allen. I just think this was a bad performance by the team. This is a team loss. So all y'all pointing the finger
Allen
once again. I keep
Davis.
telling y'all, you can't keep pointing the finger, man. This is a team loss today.
Wow,
the coaching to the players.
Listen, you guys that are hating on Allen right now, you want to go back to what we had before Allen?
Exactly. Yeah. You want to go back to JP Lossman?
Hey, I like
you. Want to go back to Trent Edwards?
Trent Edwards?
Yeah, F Trent Edwards. I hate it. That's my most hated quarterback. I agree. Y'all just in your feelings.
Josh Allen didn't miss the tackles out on the field today.
Somebody said grab Stanton Bennett. You want to go? Yeah, you want to go to Stetson Bennett? Okay.
You made Tyrod. Oh my God, I miss Tyrod Taylor. Oh my God.
Thomas is messing with you. There's no way. And by the way, I like Tyrod Taylor. I do. But come on now. Now you guys are you're being a little too much.
Exactly.
At least you're making me laugh though, because I was mad for a minute.
Not Josh Allen's fault, man. He gave up the defense gave up 150
This
yards.
was not an correct. This was not a and I'll be first to tell you. I'll be first to tell you if Allen was the reason why. And there was games that Allen has played bad, like the 2019 game against the Texans. He did not play well. However, he was really young, second season. I understand that, right? He's going to make some dumb plays. However, since then, you can't really point the finger at Allen on these losses. This is a team game. These losses that we've been losing have been more on offensive line play, bad play calling. The 2020 game, the AFC East Championship, I felt like the coaching staff totally let us down there. So, no, it's not. You cannot put this on Allen.
I don't know if Justin's a Bills fan or if he's just in here trolling, but, man, some of his takes are just outrageous.
I have no clue.
Von Miller quit playing.
Oh, yeah. He's the one that was I was going back and forth with.
Oh, my God.
He's a Bengals fan. He's a Bengals fan, which is fine. By the way, if you're a big Bengals fan on Wednesday, there's Rally Towel Sports on my channel at 8:30, and they're Bengals fans. So you can go on there and giddy on up with them and talk and whatever. But, yeah, no, I'm not. So you're on the wrong channel right now, at least.
Ooh, I'm not sure the Chiefs are beating the Bengals. That Bengals team's solid, man.
Yeah, I'm with Mikey here. I think right now too, you also got to factor in the injury for Mahomes. He's gonna play, but I think he's gonna be slowed down. I think the Bengals defensive line showed you today that they could be dangerous and they're physical. And also their offense, they got guys across the board. And mind you, I still think they'd even use Mixon right for the whole season. Today they did. They used them right. But if they get Mixon going like they did today and all the receivers, that's a tough team to beat.
Cincinnati is just Cincinnati, they did this last year in the playoffs where they were just a more balanced team. They ran the football well. They threw the
physical.
Their defense was the reason why they got them to that. Why they got it. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow obviously stepped up and he won them that game in the conference championship.
Sure.
Their defense stepped up huge for them last year, and now they're doing the same thing in the playoffs. And their defensive line, which they have invested in free agency and through the draft, was still young, so it's not like they're going to go anywhere. They're all going to be back next year. They were able to step up, make plays, and
I think that game comes down to the Chiefs or the Bengals offensive line. If the Bengals offensive line can hold up against Clark and that crew,
Namdi, Jones,
and those guys, if they can hold up, the Bengals will win that game. However, if they create problems, the Chiefs are a machine, man. They're just a machine.
But I will say this though, Mikey, the Bengals, one thing they do well that the Bills don't is they are super aggressive on defense when it matters, right? And that's how they beat the Chiefs last year when the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, which they do not have him anymore, when they had a healthy Mahomes without an bum ankle that they're going to be playing in, right? Now, I know they still got Kelsey. I know they still got some weapons across the board, but you got to factor in some of those things, and you got to factor in the Bengals play aggressive when needed. Something the Bills continue to not do. We don't play aggressive when needed. We continue to play soft-ass nickel defense, and Bengals shows you how to beat the Chiefs last season. You got to play physical. You got to get after Mahomes. You got to take those chances on defense. We don't. We never did. We have yet to do it ever. I've never seen a Bills defense take any chance and be physical. We've always played kind of that nickel scare defense, especially in games that mattered. Always go back since McDermott's been here. We've never any close game we play scared.
And the funny part is that we built this defensive line through the draft so that we can play the style of defense that we're comfortable of, which is this nickel defense, so that we can have 4-down defensive linemen and that we can put pressure without rarely blitzing, so that Tremaine Edmonds can be comfortable playing in coverage using his athletic ability and size to his advantage. With Matt Milano, if you can occasionally use him as a blitzer coming off the edge or going through the C gap, which normally he does. That's exactly why you built this defense to the draft, to beat Mahomes instead of, again, investing in other areas, instead of saying, you know what, this is just how our defense. The Chiefs never really had an elite defense, but they had certain key players and they play a certain style of defense, which they haven't changed. Yes, they again, they sacrificed by having a mid-level, 20 or 25th ranked defense through the regular season, but in the playoffs, when it matters the most, they already have it set in stone. They have a style of play and a style of defense, which with their offense, by the way, which they've invested the most on, that is the reason why they've gone to 5 straight consecutive Super Bowls, or I'm sorry, 5 straight consecutive AFC Conference Championship games. It's the reason why the Bengals are going back to 2 consecutive straight AFC Conference Championship games. We have escaped our identity and we have focused on something else instead of focusing on who we are. We try. I mean, again, we created this team to beat the Chiefs instead of creating a team that can beat anybody. The Bengals have created a team that can beat anybody in the league. The Chiefs have created a team that can beat anybody in the league. We have tried to emulate this team to beat Kansas City, and it has just not worked out. It has failed. And now, if you're Brandon Beane, you got to go back to the drawing board and saying, what do we have to do to get to a point now that we can beat any team in the league by using the style of by using a sort of the style, having that philosophy that we can beat any other team in the league, because Jacksonville's getting better.
Oh yeah,
the Jets, they're a quarterback away. The Dolphins are a quarterback away. Teams are getting better. Teams are starting to catch up with this Buffalo Bills
100%.
And this is why I'm saying, man, it's just that's why this loss stinks.
All right, 2 things that came in. One, it said, I'm surprised the receivers were openly criticizing Josh Allen. I'll have to go back and watch. Was that during the press conferences? Because everyone's talked great about Josh Allen up to this point. So unless they were criticizing him during the
during the game
press conference, I don't know. Second, this Justin guy comes in and says trade Von Miller, trade Allen, then I'll be back as a Bills fan.
He's just messing with. He's trying.
You know what? Hop off the Bills fan. We don't want you to hear if that's what you're looking for. So,
he's not. He's not a Bills fan. So don't even highlight his comments anymore because they're pointless. He's just fucking around, messing with you. It is what it is. That's a joke comment, and I'll take it like that. But either way, I agree with Jerick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that need to be addressed in the offseason. And Brandon Beane, that's why I told you the most I don't even care about these other interviews. They're all garbage to me. I want to hear the Beane one. I want to know what he has planned, what he thinks this team really needs to do to get to the next level, because we're stuck. We're stuck right now. If anything, we went backwards, in my opinion, this year. We shouldn't have, but we did. And the offensive line, like he has a lot to address. And I'm curious what questions the reporters ask him, especially about coaching. I am very curious when it comes to like Leslie Frazier, even McDermott, though, like you said, Mikey, he's not going to leave. I get it. Not only that, McDermott brung Beane here. That would be crazy if the guy that you brung here winds up firing you. But this is a business. This is a team that's never won a Super Bowl. I am 45 years old. I am so tired of watching this team year after year just not get to the goal, man. And the goal was from the beginning was to what? Get to win the East. Then the next goal was to get to the AFC Championship. We've done all these goals, and then the next goal is what? Championship, right? Caliber. Get a Super Bowl.
Now it's championships, and
we fell short again. It's like, okay, man. So what's the goal next season? What's the right? Like, what's the realistic goal here, man?
I mean, the goal is always going to be championship from here on out. But
yeah, but
I like Nate's comments in here. It says it's difficult to see how this team gets better, but I'm here for it, and that's
what I'm saying.
That's how we have to go down the thing.
And there's a lot of guys going to leave too. That's a key too that Jerick brought up. It's a great point. There's we don't know necessarily that Edmonds will be back. We don't, Poyer more than likely is gone. So now we got to address the safety position, right? Now we don't even know about the DeMar. If DeMar will be, we don't know any of that, right?
Let's
I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, DeMar wasn't an all-pro player when he got hurt.
No, I get that, but I'm saying next season he maybe would have. Let's say, we lose Poyer, maybe Hamlin would have played, right? I'm just throwing that out there. We're going to have to address the safety position now, right? If Poyer leaves, we're going to have to address the linebacker position possibly if Edmonds doesn't get re-signed, right? Then you got offensive line, totally got to invest in. And where's all that means the draft. And so far in the draft, we have yet to do any of that, especially offensive line. So running back. Yeah, because there's a lot to be, I'm telling you. Brandon Beane has his plate full. And you're right on the Dawson Knox thing. Maybe that was a mistake. And I love Dawson Knox, but maybe they
need to involve him in the offense.
Yeah, right. But that's by fixing the offensive line, so he doesn't have to be there to pass block all the time.
Or getting us a solid number 2 tight end, so he can split out like Travis Kelce.
And by the way, more in D line. Clearly, our D line is still not where it's supposed to be at.
Not investing that again.
Yeah, no, because
I'm just throwing this out there, guys. There's a lot.
We lose Phillips,
right?
All
1 year contract.
Yeah,
Tim
all 1 year contract.
You got to figure out what you do with him.
There's a lot. Yeah. Y'all don't realize there's a lot. There's a lot of, and we don't have. It's not like we have a ton of money. There's some cap space, but there's not that much. So we're gonna have to. I mean, I'm telling you, Brandon Beane is gonna have to do his magic in the draft because I'm telling you, free agency wise, he ain't gonna have much, bro.
Ooh.
Ain't gonna have much.
This is a good comp. McDermott is Dan Reeves.
Oh boy!
Oh, good old Dan Reeves. I remember.
That's not a bad comp right now. The way things are going, that's not a bad comp at all.
I think he got them to a Super Bowl, though. I'll take. I mean, at this point, at least he got them there. I mean, we haven't even gone there.
Okay, I'm gonna go to this one. Pat says, "Give up 27 points, not the end of the world in the NFL. Time for Allen to play like he wants a ring." They only gave up 27 points because the Bengals took their foot off the gas in the second half. Listen, those of you who were thinking it was Josh Allen was the reason we didn't win this game didn't watch the game, or you saw what you wanted to see. Your expectation for Josh Allen to be this superhero all the time is ridiculous.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to need to help him. Somebody needs to help him.
Also, too, I got to say, this team has not been built for Buffalo weather.
No,
not at all.
That actually hurt us. Today's weather was built more for Cincinnati than it was us.
Right.
Well, I'm saying, man, we got to build the dome, but everyone's saying, "Oh, well,
dude, I've been screaming a dome forever." And everyone's like, "Right, play in our environment." Right.
Then
play in our environment. The players hate it.
Team to do it. Then build our team to be an outdoor team.
Right. Build a nasty, big ass offensive line and defensive line. Then I'm all for it. Open the hell. Shit, I don't even care. We'll play outdoors all day. But it ain't built that way.
Dan Reeves or Marty Schottenheimer. Yeah, that's kind of the career trajectory he's on.
I'm leaning more towards Marvin Lewis right now. I'm gonna be
honest. The difference is Marvin Lewis never won a playoff game. McDermott's won.
But he was I get it, but he was still a playoff. Like you could under Marvin Lewis, that team normally. Going into the season, you were going to at least get into playoffs, right? Like they were good enough to get into playoffs, but how far would he take you? Clearly, he didn't take him anywhere, right? He never won a playoff game. But I get McDermott has won some playoff games, but when it counted, not very good.
Yeah, he's failed, and not just that, but just as a coach, when it comes to management, he has failed. He has faltered in the biggest moments as far as management. He has not gotten better. The Jaguars game back in 2017, the Texans game back in 2019, where he made some questionable coaching decisions in that game. You look at the Chiefs, you look at what he was able to do with the Chiefs game, calling that timeout and setting up that prevent defense that ultimately led up to 13 seconds of them getting into field goal range. And now we're going to be talking about this particular game where he made, again, he was too conservative. Where he was way too conservative as far as not going for it, especially when the momentum was clearly on the Bengals side. Again, the 4th and 2 situation, that's going to haunt me because I'm not. Who knows? Maybe the Bills could have
playing scared, playing scared. Not
and you know what?
In your players.
We always do that. What haunts me this year is our 3rd and long defense. We had them multiple times at 3rd and 8 today.
That was terrible.
And it was just,
giving up 12 yards in the 3rd.
Yeah, the 3rd and longs are what haunt me with this freaking coaching staff.
Yep. Well, guys, I think this is going to wrap it up. We're just going to keep going in circles. Getting madder and madder.
We have a long offseason to talk this shit.
Yeah, we do. I'm going to cut my episodes down to 1 per week, though, because I need a break. So we're going to be still doing, as of right now, guys, Monday nights still. Unless it changes, I'll let you know. I'm hoping to change it to a Friday or Saturday, but we'll keep you guys posted as I, figure that out. Once again, I appreciate all y'all in the chat. Jerick, I appreciate you coming in. Can you tell everybody where you're at, where they can find you at, man?
Yeah, man. Find me on Twitter, Gent716, YouTube channel, especially if you want to see my rant, Gent Sports, as always. Long off season to go. We got a lot to talk about. So yeah, you guys can catch me over there. But yeah, it's just disappointing, just as usual.
Yeah, Rally Top Sports. Make sure you guys check them out.
Yeah, there he is, my boy Corey. Hey, they're on every Wednesday at 8:30. Hey, Corey, man, great game. Congratulations. I don't know if you were on here, how long you were on here for. Big props to you guys, man. You guys brung it today. No excuses on our end. We just got our asses beat. And I'll be rooting for you guys.
I hope you guys win this thing. I really do.
Yeah, no doubt. So, anyways, Mikey, any last words?
Nope. We'll be coming back to you. Tommy, are we on tomorrow night, or are we taking a break?
Yeah, we'll probably be on, but I don't know how long we'll be on for that show. Okay. But we'll be on. We'll come on Monday at 9:00. We'll be on for just to sum up the season. I guess we'll sum up the season for you guys. Do like a season wrap up, and then from there on out, we'll let you know what days we'll be on moving forward. Because I don't know if I want to continue to do Mondays, but I'll keep you guys posted, obviously. So for Jerick, for Mikey, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Even the haters that came in here, all good. All love. Bills Mafia, I still love you. And as always, go Bills. Peace out.
Bills.